Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you all are having a good day so far. Today is we're going to look at the notes for section 3.6. It's talking about functions. Before we get into a function, we actually need to identify a few things like relations. All right. Oh, is this not working? Give me a sec. Let me see what's going on with my pen here. Okay, so we need to define a relation, and then we need to define domain, and we need to define range. So a relation is not like I'm in a relationship with a boyfriend or girlfriend. A relation in math is like a set of ordered pairs. Okay, so anytime you have a list of ordered pairs, that's called the relation. So like in example one here, all disordered pairs, that's a relation. Anytime you list a set of coordinate points or a bunch of coordinate points together, we call that a relation. Okay, it's because they are somehow related to each other. The x's and the y's, the inputs and the outputs, and so forth. A set of x coordinates in the relationship is called the domain. And then the set of y coordinates is called the range. Okay, so for D for domain, x coordinates, R for range, y coordinates. Let's take a look at number one. Find the domain and the range. So we got to find, remember, domain is the x coordinates and the range is the y coordinates. So all we got to do is take a look here, and we're going to look at the, we need to identify all the x's from this set of, or this relation, this set of ordered coordinates, or this relation. Okay, so all the x's is 0, 1, and 5. And the way we write this is interval notation. We got to write this funny squiggly bracket like this. And then the range is the y coordinates. So -2, -2, and -2. Now, it doesn't make sense to write -2 a bunch of times, so we just write -2 one time. Okay. If there's any repeats, we don't have to repeat them or write the repeats, we just write the number. So let's talk about what relationships are functions. So functions are like a special type of relation. Okay, and that special type of relation is right here. I want you to highlight this or circle it or underline it. It's a function. A function is a set of ordered pairs. Remember, a set of ordered pairs is just a relation. That assigns exactly one x for exactly one y. So that means for every x, there's a y, and x's don't repeat. We never go back to our x, right? We always stay back away from our x. So x, there's only one x for each y. Let's see what that looks like in an example. Determine if the relation is a function or not. Okay, so we've got x, 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 and x. Okay, and each x is paired with a y. Are there any repeats? So let's look at the domain, or all the x values. We've got 1, 2, 3, or -3, and 0. Normally we'd write these in order, smallest to largest, but for today's sake, what we're trying to see is if there are any repeating x's. There's no repeating x's, so number 2 is yes, it is a function. Okay, let's take a look at number 3. X, x, and x. They're repeating, they're all the same x. So it's -1, -1, -1. Because they're repeating, we know that this is not a function. Okay, so all functions are relations, but not all relations are functions. Functions only happen when there's no x's repeating. Let's take a look at, now we've looked at, this is how we find or figure out if something is a function through a set notation. Now let's take a look at finding out if a function from a graph. Okay, determine if the graph is also a function. So remember, if we had to look at the domain, well, we need the x and y coordinates. So this is 1 comma 1. This one is 1 comma negative 1. This one is 2 comma negative 2. And then this one over here is negative 1 comma negative 1. So look at our domain. This one, it's easy to see graphically, like these two are on the same x point, or the x coordinate, 1 and 1. And because they lie on the same coordinate, there's a repeat on the 1. That means that there's two x's on the same point. So this is not a function. Okay. So a function assigns to each x value exactly 1y. You guys use this idea that there can't be any repeating x's, and you try to, on your own, try to figure out number 5. Is it a function or not? Okay, now let's do something called the vertical line test. The vertical line test only works when we're working with graphs. You can't use a vertical line test if it's not a graph. But the vertical line test, let's take a look here. Underline, circle. If a vertical line can be drawn, so remember, vertical is up and down, so that it intersects the graph more than once, then the graph is not the graph of a function. So let's take a look at number 6. So basically, here's how it works. If I draw a straight line up from bottom up, or up to bottom, up to top, bottom to top, or top to bottom, does this blue line that I just drew, does it cross this graph at more than one point? No, it only crosses at one point. If I draw a vertical line at any given point on this graph, straight up and down, does it ever intersect the graph or the black line at more than one point? And the answer is no. Okay, so the vertical line test, you can think of it like as if you ran a straight line up and down, and you, let me see if I can make this work. And if you moved it across the graph, does it ever intersect the black line at more than one point? And the answer is no. It's always only intersecting at one. So this one is yes, a function. Okay, you guys do number 7. Let's take a look at number 8. Do number 8 on your own. Let's take a look at number 9. If I drew a vertical line, okay, right now I'm not intersecting anything on the graph. I'm only intersecting the axis. The axis is the line, the axis, but that's not the graph. The graph is this line right here, the black line. So let's take a look. Does this intersect? If I move this line over and I'm going straight up and down, at this point, how many points from the line I drew intersect with the graph? Well, almost every point, right? Because these are the same line. So the graph of a vertical line is never a function. So this is not a function because it fails the vertical line test. Okay, so vertical lines are not graphs of functions. Okay, that's it for this video. And let me know if y'all have questions, or ask coach if you don't understand something. We can help you out. And make sure you do problems number 8, number 7, and number 5 on your own. Okay, your work with your groups or help each other out.